All right, folks. Episode 2, Meditations, aka That's Facts. Going back and forth on the name, not sure which one I'm going to go with. But in any case, I got subject matter number 2 for you. One of my best friends, name's Tyler. Leave his last name out of it. But one of my best friends asked me a very poignant question the other day. And I gave him an incredibly poignant answer. See, I say this with all humility and no arrogance, but eventually, once you start reaching to a certain level in life, people start coming to you for advice. Sometimes they don't even know they're asking you for advice, but they're doing it subconsciously. One of my best friends, very smart kid, asked me a question. He said, "How do I get fuck you money?" That's what he told me. And my answer, without even thinking about it, next thing that came out of my head, I texted him back. I said, "You got to do a whole bunch of shit that you don't want to do." And boy, ain't that the truth. So a lot of people ask me about money, or just playing out how to get rich. And everybody wants the shortcut. There's only a handful of ways to do it. You can get really, really lucky, which didn't happen to me. Same old story that everybody wants to tell on the internet. I had nothing, blah, blah, blah. Poor crybaby bullshit story. Who gives a fuck? Everybody has nothing. Okay, there's something like 3,000 billionaires on Earth. 3,000 people, that's how many people went to my high school. Guess what? We all fucking came from nothing, dummy. Okay? Almost everybody. So not very many people got real lucky or came from real rich families. Even if somebody seemed rich when you were younger, okay, a doctor who makes $600,000 a year, is that guy rich? Not really. What's rich? Rich is I never have to think about anything ever again. Okay? Yeah, so people ask me about that. And I got thinking about it. What did I do? Like, what did I actually do? What did I put into action? What can I tell you that 1,000 people on the internet haven't told you before? Oh, work hard. Guess what? People at McDonald's work hard, stupid. You gotta work hard at the right things. Okay, we know that. That's been said a million times. Okay. Take risk. Sure. Okay. Not really. The only way you win is if you play a game that you know you're gonna win, right? Or at least you have great confidence you're gonna win. You don't want to get into a business that you think there's a high percentage chance you're gonna fail. Elon Musk famously said that he thought Tesla only had a 10% chance of survival or of making it or success. God damn, I hope that's not true. You bet your whole life on 10%? Okay. Hey, if he's genuine when he says that, hats off to him. Because I'm not betting the house on 10%. I'm betting the house on something I think is a, 75% chance or better that I'm going to succeed. That's just me. Warren Buffett talks about something. He talks about it with stocks, but this applies to business or anything in life. He said every once in a while you look at a stock he's referring to, you look at one that just hits you over the head. That's what happened to me with my business. An idea came to me that I just couldn't shake. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And we can, if people are interested, leave it in the comments. I can get into that and what my business is and what I do and how I make my money and all that stuff. If people give a fuck, I don't really think it's all that interesting. I think the the intricacies and the mindsets behind all these things are much more important than what you actually do. You know, there are literal trash companies, garbage companies, and the owner of them are millionaires, right? You can do anything. You can be a plumber and be a millionaire. So what you do is much less important than sort of how you do it and how you attack. So that's the first thing I would tell you is, sure, take risks, but find an idea that you're 100% sure in your heart, or 75% sure. You're never 100%. 75% sure it's gonna work. And then I told myself something. So my grandfather died in November of 2022. And he was a real ambitious guy, real successful. Never, when he died, he never had to say, I didn't try at whatever. So I said the same thing to myself when he died. I said, I'm not gonna die wishing I had tried. You know, I will have at least tried as hard as I could. And I said something to myself when I started my business. I said, I'm gonna push the boulder down the hill and I'm gonna just chase it as far as I can chase it. And if it outruns me or if it crushes me or whatever happens, cool. But I pushed it down the hill. And what you find out once you push the boulder down the hill is you can run a lot faster than you thought you could. When you're just working some bullshit job that you don't give a fuck about, guess what? People say that, or it's in the ether, I don't know if this is true or not, but everybody's heard this, thing on repeat, that we all use about 10% of our brains. Well, I can tell you this, if you're working at your job, you're using maybe 10% of your capabilities. I don't know about your brain, but 10% of your capabilities. If you're working 8 normal hours a day, clocking in, clocking out, maybe 10%. There was jobs that I worked at, in hindsight, I was using maybe 1%. My background is in sales, and just like many successful business people, you learn how to sell, and if you can learn how to separate people from your cash, well, or from their cash rather, that's a pretty valuable skill when it comes to making money, wouldn't you say? But no, I got a job selling internet over the phone. And after working there for about 3 months, I kind of mastered it, and I broke the record for the most sales in a week selling AT&T internet over the phone. All the managers had never sold as much as I had sold, whatever. And after I did it, the next week, I was scheduled for 40-ish hours. I showed up for about 3 of them. So it was a big call center. This is a funny story, actually. This makes for a good story. It's a big call center, okay, with, I don't know, maybe 1,000 employees in this call center, maybe more. I mean, it was huge. In my department, in the AT&T department, it might have been 200, 250 tons. It was like a high school. And so I have this record-breaking week. Everybody's losing their shit, right? Gage sold all this. He made all this money. I was 21, and this was in 2014. I probably made $4,000 in a week selling bullshit AT&T internet over the phone. And everybody was like, holy shit, $4,000 in a week times, if you worked 50 weeks in a year, 40 times 5, that is 80, 160, it's $200,000 in a year, right? At a bullshit call center phone job. Okay, you have to understand, like, most people were making between $500 and $700 a week, and I went and made $4,000, right? And this proves how small a percentage people use, and even me, when I did that. The next week, I was scheduled for 40 weeks, for 40 hours. I worked 3-4 hours. I would show up for 10 minutes. I was like depressed. I was like, okay, I conquered this shit in 3 months. Now what? you know. And I didn't do it the first week, and all these bullshit stories. People say, oh, yeah, I showed up the first day, the first week, broke every record in the book. No, it took me 3 months to learn it. But I would show up for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then just leave. And it was a big call center, so nobody noticed. They just had, at the end of the week, they would look at your hours that you actually clocked in. And I would clock in and clock out. I wouldn't commit time card fraud. I'm not trying to go to jail or anything or get sued, but I certainly didn't give a fuck about getting fired. I can tell you. And I just didn't give a fuck. And the truth is, I was there for a girl that I liked. A girl that I liked worked there, and I told her, hey, I'm going to get a job where you work. And she said, okay, I'll help you. And it was a ploy to try to date her, and I wanted to impress her. And then no matter how successful I was, it was never good enough. So then I didn't give a fuck anymore. But yeah, so they call me into the office after that week and say, hey, what is going on? Like last week, you made all these sales, you made all this money, and then you show up for 3 hours. Like, what the fuck is going on? What's wrong with you? The manager's like, I never came anywhere close to getting that amount of sales. And you have to understand, at this company, to become a manager, you had to do very, very well. You had, I mean, on the whole floor, I mean, there's 250 salespeople on the floor. There's only maybe 5 to 7 managers that managed all 250 of those people, which means the managers were the top, at one point, top 10 in that top 10 group, right? They're the best of the best out of that 250 to become a manager. And so my manager is like, dude, I never came close to those numbers. And then the next week you're working 3 hours. What the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like, do you even want to be here? And I lied to him. So my idea, which did not work, by the way, don't try this because it's going to fail. But I was like, oh, I know what I'll do. I don't want to work here anymore. I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to be a complete dickhead and get fired, and then I'll get unemployment. Wrong. If you get fired for cause, you're not getting unemployment. But I was a dumb 22-year-old kid. And so I lie, right? I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be here. Like, sorry, I been going through some shit. Whatever, I make up this excuse, right? And he's like, okay, well, listen, we want you here, right? Because I just I just did probably 2 months worth of production in 1 week. So they're like, holy shit, like if this guy can do this type of numbers every week or, you know, even every 2 weeks, he's crushing it. And so, so they want to do, normally they would never make an exception. Somebody does that, shows up for 3 hours out of their total 40 hours, or I think I might have been scheduled for more. I might have been scheduled for more, like 45 hours. And, so normally if that happens, you're fired so quick, like they know you don't give a fuck, like you're completely and by the way, not calling in sick, not, saying, hey, I gotta leave my mom, not even lying, just showing up for 20 minutes, taking like one phone call, clocking out and walking out of the building and saying, fuck you, basically, right? Like not giving 2 fucks. So anyway, they're like, okay, well, we really want you here. Like, come on, dude. Like, whatever's going on, let's have a better week this week. I'm like, absolutely no problem. I apologize. Yes, I want to be here. All the while lying, right? Because I want them to fire me. Because I think that's somehow a good idea. Because I'm a dumb fucking 22-year-old kid. So I think they called me into the office on a Friday, right? When they had finally noticed my time card was all fucked up. And then the following Monday, same thing. Show up, clock in. I think I clocked in for something like 9 minutes. I don't know if I took a phone call. I think I clocked in, left my phone, because you have an auto dialer and you can become available, so a call will just come in. That's how call centers work. Anybody who's worked in a call center understands this thing. And so I didn't even switch myself onto available. I got there, I might have got a cup of coffee, flirted with a girl. That was the nice thing about working in a big call center like that. Bunch of cute girls, right? And then I clocked out 9 minutes later because I was just depressed. I didn't want to be there. You know, again, I climbed to the top of the mountain at this dumb fucking call center, and then the girl I was in love with didn't want me. So hard to believe, I know. No, I'm just kidding. Not hard to believe at all. But yeah, so I do the same thing immediately. And they call me in the next day. They're waiting for me to walk through the door because they know what I'm gonna do. They know I'm gonna clock my ass in and clock my ass out like that. And so they call me into the office and they're like, "Hey, dude, like it's clear you don't want to be here. It's all good. Like, get fucked. You're fired." And I was like, "Cool, sounds good." Like, I think I'm going to go home and make a phone call and get unemployment like a dummy. Like, I don't know how the fuck any of this works. And I come out of the office laughing. Everybody's like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "Oh, they just fired me." But the point is, if you worked for yourself, you owned your own business, you would never do something like that in 1 billion years. There's a bunch of people that are relying on you. Your family's relying on you. At first, when you start out, it's usually, if you're bootstrapping it the way that I did, I didn't have some incredible idea and go get money from investors and all this bullshit, right? I went and put the plan into action on my own by myself. I was my only employee for the first 3 months and tried to make some shit happen. You would never do something like what I did. So the point is, 10% capability. No, I was exercising, even when I tried hard and made all those sales, I was exercising maybe 10% there, 15% there. And oftentimes 1%. So the point is, what you find out, people are afraid of like the hours that'll come when they start their own business or they really try to get rich. And what you find out is you start having so much fun building your own thing. If you ever built anything, it's fun. Or if you ever put up a tent, or if you ever, I know woodworking guys who they get so much satisfaction when they finish a project. And that's what a business is like. You're building your own thing that pays you in equity and in dividends down the road forever if you don't give up equity. Okay. So it's not that hard to work 100 hours in a week because it doesn't really feel like work. It's fun. It's exciting. You're building your own deal. Another piece of advice, okay? Or debunking a very common piece of advice. Chase your passion. What the fuck are you talking about? Your passion? Excuse me. Sure, maybe you'll get lucky and do something you love in your business. Let me tell you something. My business is not some passion project, okay? It is on the side of the people and my people that I love. I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about business in itself. But my business is a necessity. But it's not interesting, okay? Again, think plumbing. I'm not a plumber, but think of plumbing. Most plumbers aren't super passionate about snaking out a shitty toilet, okay? But they do it because it pays the fucking bills. And you go across any city in America, any big city, any small city too, really. Take a city of 500,000 people or more. Oklahoma City, Salt Lake City where I live, even a moderate sized city. The best plumber in that town is rich as fuck, okay? Okay, rich. All right, you've never seen a house like a successful plumber. Trust me. These guys rake it in. Guess what? They're not passionate about, fecal matter or water or pipes. They're passionate about building a future for their family forever, or a business that will pay their family forever. Okay? So sure, if you get lucky and your passion happens to be well paying, cool. But that should not be your first priority. Okay? find passion in people, It's become fashionable to say like, oh, I don't like people. I like dogs better than I like people. What the fuck are you talking about, stupid? All right, cool. I guess you don't want to be rich or even middle class. I guess you want to be poor the rest of your life. Buy a cat, die alone, get fucked. Okay? And by the way, in my life, I got no time for people with attitudes like that. Zero. I get offended when I hear that shit. We're all people. We're all on this earth together. Okay? And deep down, we all do love each other. Okay? So I've taken a little bit of a tangent on this video, but I'll end with this since I'm on the subject of people. Started off with how to get rich, and then I'm going to end with something a little more impactful, I think, and original. I had a very serious injury about 7 months ago, almost died, and I'll get into the details again. I'm not going to pity party on this channel, do all this, stupid shit that everybody else does. If you want to know details of anything I say, put it in the comments below. Cool. You want to know about my accident? One person writes, hey, what happened? Cool, I'll talk about it. Otherwise, I'm not going to get into details about shit that I think is kind of boring. But I'll tell you the part that's not boring is I got into a very serious accident 7 months ago, almost died. And there was about a team of roughly 300 people who brought me back from the dead, literally. Okay. I mean, and you can go down the list from, obviously, first of all, my doctors and my surgeons. Then you've got your nurses, your CNAs, your cleaning lady that comes and cleans your bathroom in the hospital, the person who brings you food, your caseworkers, obviously your family, my sister, my mother, my father, my friends. Again, a team of easily 300 people who, 100 years ago, I get the injury that I got and I'm dead like that. And I kept explaining to people, like, look, I know this is your job, but first of all, money's not real. So sure, you're doing this because you get paid, but not really, which is funny because I just said, do something that pays you a lot of money. Little contradictory, but no, I kept explaining to people, you don't have to be helping me right now, and you are. And you're doing it because you enjoy helping people. And I'd like to project some hope into this universe. Humans are very incredible beings. I've always thought this. I've always really loved people, enjoyed them. And I think we all kind of do deep down. We're all very social beings. There's a reason that in prison, the worst thing you can possibly do to somebody is put them into solitary confinement, away from all the people. It's the worst thing you can do. Everybody wants any punishment but that. They don't want to be alone. Crazy, right? Interesting. You're in cells and yards with killers, psychos, and child molesters, and white collar criminals that are pieces of shit that ruin people's lives, that stole millions of dollars or whatever. You're with the worst people in the world, and you still want to be around them when you're in prison. You don't want to be by yourself. I've always found that fascinating. Yeah. So, anyway, that's what I'm passionate about. And when you run a business, you're around people all the time, and you're managing people, and you're dealing with people, and they are your chess pieces, and you're all on this team, and you're the king, and you're directing them. You're the general, and you're sending them to war every day, trying to make sure they don't get killed. Truly, trying to make sure that they can feed their families, that they can take care of their kids. You know, that's what I'm passionate about. That's fun to me. You know, I often say all my employees are like my children. You know, I got a bunch of full-grown children that I feel full responsibility for, and if something happens to them, you know, I mean, I've bailed employees out of jail. I've bought Christmas presents. I mean, these are my children that are in many cases older than me, which is hilarious. I'm 33 years old, and you know, not all my employees are below that age. So yeah, I guess I'll just end this video with that. Don't ever lose your love for people, all people. There's bad people out there, no doubt about it, but they are the tiny majority, tiny. Even you catch somebody at a bad mood in the grocery store or in traffic or whatever, let me explain something to you. I've caught a lot of people in a bad mood who are hurting and wanted to be dicks to me, pieces of shit, be rude. And you know what I've done? Instead of getting mad at them, hey man, listen, I love you way more than you hate me. What's going on in your life? Tell me. What happened today that's got you in such a bad mood? I want to help you. What can I do? They might lash out. They might get even more angry when you do that. No, seriously. Hey, I'm telling you, I care about you. What is going on? What can I do to help you? Can I buy you a meal? Can I put gas in your car? What can I do for you? I'm sorry for whatever has happened that's gotten you in this mood today. I really am. It wasn't me, my friend. Don't take it out on me. What can I do to help you? Guess what? Every time I've done that, with 0 exceptions, I've never had somebody not do this. Take a deep breath. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I'm under a lot of stress and this and that and whatever, right? And they tell you. Man, I can't stop playing with my hair in these videos. It's bugging me. I didn't know I was so insecure about how my hair looked. Just kidding. I'm not insecure about a goddamn thing. If I go bald tomorrow, I'm shaving it. Anyway. You know, I just came up with the idea. Some of these episodes, contemplative ones like this, are going to be meditations. That's going to be the name of that episode. And the other ones that are a little more directed, a little more advice-driven, not just so contemplative, those ones are named That's Facts. So guess what? We're going to find out the name of the show each time. It's going to be one or the other each episode I do. But I'm not going to know which one it is until the end, until I've talked. With that, Gauge Like 12 Gauge. It was an excellent episode talking to you guys. And again, the last thing I'll say, I'm going to say this at the end of every video. Like the video. Again, it helps with the algorithm. We all know that. We're all little algorithm sluts up in this bitch, okay? The algorithm is my pimp. I'm its slut. Just kidding, I ain't nobody's bitch. I'm already rich. I don't need YouTube or none of that shit. And I'm not really even doing this for that. I'm doing this because people have told me to get some of this shit out. People always tell me to write a book, and I ain't interested in that. I like to talk, so I'm just talking to a camera. If people give a fuck, great. If not, I don't really care either. But like the video. I want to spread some of this stuff to as many people as I can, if it can help anybody. A lot of wisdom, original wisdom, going to come your guys' way. And like the video, comment below. Please talk shit. Again, said it on the last video. The nastier, the better. I love that. I'm one of these guys, take negative energy, internalize it, and I use that shit. That's fuel to me. It's fun. I think it's funny most of the time. The nastier, I was on a date with a girl the other night, and she kept giving me just the dirtiest looks when I would say shit, and I just couldn't stop laughing. I kept telling her, listen, the dirtier the look you give me, the more I'm gonna laugh. This is just fun. This is great. Like, I do not care if people are mad at me. I do not care if people talk shit. Good. I'm gonna talk shit back. We can get on the phone call. We can have a shit talking match, and at the end of it, I'll tell you how much I love you. So, yeah. Comment, good, bad, or otherwise. Preferably say what, if there's anything you'd like me to elaborate on the video, if there's any subject you'd like me to discuss and give my perspective on, and give my wisdom on. I have lived a very hard life. We'll find out through these episodes. At 33 years old, I've put in the life of somebody twice my age, a 66-year-old, and have come out the other side, you know, relatively speaking, on top. You know, could have, all of us have the fork in the road where we can go upwards or down below. And I've been able to do the prior, go in the right direction. I'm not without mistakes, but if you saw where my life started and where I'm at now, in this big fancy house, comfortable as hell, don't have to worry about anything. My kids don't have to worry about anything. My employees don't have to worry about anything. I've got everybody's, that's one of the best parts about being a man, is when you achieve success, you take care of everybody around you. Everybody, if they've got a problem, come to me. That's what I want. Come to me. Make me your first phone call. If I can't solve it, I got somebody who can. And if I don't want to solve it, I'll at least be honest about that. But if I love you and you're my person or one of my people, we'll get it solved, no problem. And usually in less than 5 minutes. So that's one of the best parts about this whole thing. Doing that for other people. Because I didn't have nobody to do it for me. And I mean nobody. I mean, I had guidance, but if I had a real problem, first of all, I was too scared to ask because I'm a prideful little bastard. Terrified to ask anybody for anything. And, but boy, it sure would have been nice to know that I had somebody who could have fulfilled that role. So I like to be that for the people in my life. That's fun. That's what I'm passionate about. So another episode of Meditations, episode number 2. Like, subscribe, comment below. And if there's any subjects that you guys would like discussed, let me know and I'll do it. And I'll shout you out too, by the way. I'll shout you out. Okay, this person with this handle asked this question, wanted me to talk about this. These are my thoughts. You know, message me privately if you want to know more. Or if there's something I missed. You know, I'm doing this shit for fun as an outlet. When I get done, you know, slaying dragons in my business, at the end of the night, it's I don't have a clock in here. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 11 p.m. right now, and I'm doing this shit for fun. This is how I wind down and go to bed. So, a little longer video. My last one, I said I was going to keep these things about 10 minutes, but we rambled on a little bit today. So fucking what? I do what I want.